Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where two curious minds leap through portals of ink, spellcraft, and starships.
That's us?
We take a stack of sources, articles, research, our own notes, and we try to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge or insight for you.
Yeah, think of it like a shortcut to being really well-informed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With, hopefully, some surprising facts and just enough humor to keep you hooked.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, if you're enjoying this deep dive, please think about leaving a like on the video.
And subscribing to the channel.
It truly helps us leap to new literary worlds.
It really does. And our mission here at the Deep Dive is basically to plunge into beloved texts, and sometimes, yeah, challenging ones too.
Right.
We dissect them layer by layer, try to uncover those hidden nuances, spark maybe some fresh insights.
And maybe even challenge how you view a story you thought you knew inside out.
Absolutely. We're here to be your expert guides, helping you pinpoint what truly matters and, why it matters.
And today we're doing exactly that with a book that really marks a seismic shift in a beloved series, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Ah, yes. Book 4, The Turning Point.
Totally. This isn't just another year at Hogwarts, is it? It's where the magic, that kind of innocent, whimsical magic, starts to darken.
Mm-hmm. Where childhood innocence really begins to fray.
And the stakes become terrifyingly real. It changes everything, irreversibly altering Harry's world and, honestly, our perception of it, too.
Definitely.
We're not just summarizing here, oh no. We're going to pull out some pivotal moments, explore the philosophical stuff bubbling underneath.
Challenge some popular interpretations, maybe stir things up a bit.
Yes, and unearth some truly overlooked details that might just change your whole perspective on this really foundational book.
It's the moment the series, takes off its training wheels, where the world Rowling built reveals its true, complex, and, dangerous face.
It really does.
This book, more than any before it, sets the stage. The undeniable high-stakes stage for everything that follows in the Wizarding War.
It's where the quiet threat becomes, an undeniable, terrifying reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's dive in then. We're starting with a cold open hook, a hot take that might just make you rethink one of the most chilling characters in the entire book.
Ooh, okay. Intriguing.
Our hot take today. Barty Crouch Jr., meticulously disguised as Alastor Mad-Eye Moody. He isn't just Voldemort's minion.
Right. There's more to it.
He's something far more sinister, a true believer, a fanatical almost, artist of chaos.
And Curse of Chaos, I like that.
Yeah, and his relentless, constant vigilance mantra, he's not just, executing a plan. He's absolutely relishing the intricate, almost theatrical process of bringing Voldemort back. He embodies that terrifying, almost religious dedication of a zealot, which I think makes him so much more dangerous than just a follower, someone acting out of fear or wanting power.
Yeah, that's a great point. What's truly fascinating and kind of disturbing is how meticulous he is. His planning, his chilling delight in the whole scheme.
Yeah.
It isn't just effective, it's almost like performance art.
Right. He takes such pride in it.
Remember his confession? When Dumbledore finally unmasks him, he boasts. He says, "I offered to carry the Triwizard Cup into the maze before dinner, turned it into a portkey. My master's plan worked.
Ugh, chills.
He is returned to power, and I will be honored by him beyond the dreams of wizards." This wasn't just a job for him, it was a personal crusade, a devotion.
A calling.
Yeah, he orchestrated every single step to make sure Harry reached that portkey, tampering with the Goblet of Fire itself, so Harry's name came out.
Despite the age line Dumbledore put up, which was supposed to be foolproof.
Exactly. Every little detail was calculated.
It's the sheer audacity, isn't it? Doing it all right under everyone's noses.
Yeah.
Especially Dumbledore's and his teaching methods, or maybe the lack of proper methods. That's a perfect illustration of this fanaticism, too.
Absolutely. Teaching fourth years the unforgivable curses.
Kids. He says something like, "I'm not supposed to show you what illegal dark curses look like until you're in the 6th year."
Right. You're not supposed to be old enough. But Professor Dumbledore's got a higher opinion of your nerves.
He reckons you can cope, and I say, the sooner you know what you're up against, the better.
But was it really for their preparation?
Or was it something darker, like a twisted form of desensitization?
Yeah. Trying to normalize the unspeakable. Or maybe even reveal or provoke their own hidden darkness.
We see Neville's reaction, don't we, to the Cruciatus Curse demonstration. Absolutely horrified, traumatized.
It's not just teaching, it feels like psychological warfare on 14-year-olds.
It really does. And that relentless, constant vigilance, mantra he's always barking out.
Yeah.
It's not just some quirky habit of a retired Auror, is it? It's a twisted reflection, almost paranoid, of his own obsessive focus on the plan.
Makes sense. He had to be constantly vigilant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because he was living this monumental lie, meticulously keeping up the disguise while orchestrating this incredibly complex, high-stakes plot right under Dumbledore's nose. His entire being, every fiber of that fake moody persona, was just consumed by this one horrifying goal, Voldemort's return.
Yeah. It makes you wonder how much of the real Barty Crouch Jr. was even left by the end. Or if he'd just fully become this vessel for his master's will.
You know, it reminds me of those really intense method actors, the ones who embody a role so completely they kind of lose themselves in it.
Oh, yeah, totally.
He becomes moody, not just for the disguise, because that's what his ultimate terrifying performance required, Voldemort's regeneration. And then there's that absolute chilling confession to Harry at the end. He whispers it, and it still gives me goosebumps reading it.
What does he say again?
The Dark Lord didn't manage to kill you, Potter, and he so wanted to. Imagine how he will reward me when he finds I have done it for him. I gave you to him the thing he needed above all to regenerate, and then I killed you for him. I will be honored beyond all other Death Eaters. I will be his dearest, his closest supporter, closer than a son.
Closer than a son. Wow.
That's not just a minion reporting back.
Wow.
That's a deep, personal, almost filial commitment to Voldemort's cause. He's looking for love, for acceptance in the absolute most twisted way imaginable.
It's the zealotry, isn't it? The zealotry of a true believer who's finally found his twisted purpose. He explicitly compares himself to his son. That signifies a bond way deeper than just servitude.
Much deeper.
He's not driven by fear like so many other Death Eaters seem to be. It's this profound, almost religious loyalty and this desperate craving for recognition, for that ultimate honor from Voldemort. It's a terrifying portrait of devotion to evil.
You're right. It's like a brilliant but completely unhinged performance artist whose canvas is reality itself, just meticulously crafting every detail to bring about his desired, horrific masterpiece.
A truly terrifying thought.
Yeah. Really casts a shadow over everything else in the book, knowing his meticulous planning was behind so much of the chaos. Okay, so from the architect of chaos, let's maybe zoom out a bit and unpack some of the broader, looming darkness introduced in this book, starting with the pervasive theme of freedom and control, and the invisible chains that bind us, sometimes even when we think we're free.
The Imperious Curse. That's got to be the most literal and, frankly, chilling example of that theme.
Absolutely.
Moody's, or rather Crouch Jr.'s demonstration to the fourth years. It vividly shows how it just utterly robs people of free will, forces them to act against their own desires, do unthinkable things.
But the irony, the tragic irony,
is that Barty Crouch Jr. himself had been under the Imperious Curse for years, controlled by his own father.
Right. He tells Harry, I was under my father's control, forced to wear an invisibility cloak day and night, always with the house elf.
Yeah.
She was my keeper.
And then he breaks free from that curse, only to fanatically rush back to Voldemort. It arguably fueled his own desire for ultimate control, his zealous dedication to a master promising absolute power.
It's like he experienced this extreme subjugation.
And then embraced it, wanting to inflict it on a grander, more terrifying scale with Voldemort. It's a really classic cycle of abuse just perpetuating itself.
Yeah, wow. And then, switching gears slightly, but still on that theme, we have Hermione's passionate campaign for house elf rights.
Spew W.
Spew W. Often frustrating for Harry and Ron, but so important.
Totally. She's essentially challenging the very foundation of Wizarding Society's acceptance of what is, let's be blunt, slave labor.
It's a shocking blind spot, isn't it? For a world that generally sees itself as good and enlightened compared to the dark arts.
What does it say about a society that just accepts such a fundamental injustice so casually?
It's a really powerful and uncomfortable social commentary woven right into the story. You see Dobby, right, desperate for freedom and earning wages, celebrating his liberation. Harry Potter is too good to Dobby.
He loves his socks.
He loves his socks, reveling in his independence, even if it's a bit precarious. But then, Rowling gives us Winky.
Oh, Winky. Heartbreaking. She experiences this profound shame at being freed. She squeaks, Winky is a disgraced elf, but Winky is not yet getting paid. Winky is not sunk so low as that. Winky is properly ashamed of being free.
It's devastating.
And it's not just about elves, is it? It's this brilliant, painful look at systemic oppression and the deep psychological toll it takes, where the very ideal of freedom can feel like a punishment because of ingrained conditioning.
Yeah, her loyalty, even though Crouch treated her terribly, it's just heartbreaking. It holds up a mirror to bigger societal issues.
Absolutely. It's a difficult truth to confront.
And even on a much smaller scale, you see this insidious control dynamic with the Dursleys, right?
Oh yeah, the petty tyrants of Crivet Drive.
Exactly. They're suffocating control over Harry.
Yeah.
Like Dudley's diet, where Aunt Petunia makes the whole family follow. But Harry gets, like, a quarter grapefruit. Or Uncle Vernon's constant battle between wanting to look normal and wanting to get rid of Harry. Harry even learns to leverage it, thinking about how telling Sirius he couldn't go to the World Cup would make Sirius think he was being mistreated.
He gets quite cunning about navigating their control.
He does. This early, constant exposure to restrictive, arbitrary authority, it subtly prepares him, maybe seals him, for the bigger battle against Voldemort's desire for absolute control.
It's like they're miniature Voldemorts in their own little world, obsessed with conformity, appearances, absolute control.
Maybe Harry's resilience, his core desire for freedom, was actually forged in that cupboard under the stairs.
It's a fascinating thought, like a microcosmic training ground for the macrocosmic battle. And this leads perfectly into another major theme that Goblet of Fire just relentlessly exposes: the flaws in justice, the power of denial and reputation in the wizarding world. Especially the Ministry.
Oh, the Ministry. Let's talk about Sirius Black's injustice. That's maybe the most glaring, infuriating example.
Definitely.
The fact that Barty Crouch Sr. sent Sirius to Azkaban without a trial, based on circumstance, political expediency, and, wanting to look tough on crime.
Sirius himself says it. Crouch, he was the one who gave the order for me to be sent to Azkaban without a trial.
It's not just personal malice. It shows how even those supposedly fighting the dark side can abuse power, prioritizing reputation and politics over due process. It's a chilling precedent.
And that abuse of power, that systemic rot, feeds right into the Ministry's denial later on.
Oh, Fudge's denial.
Yeah.
It's almost comical if it weren't so tragic.
His immediate, absolute dismissal of Harry's eyewitness account of Voldemort's return. It's astonishing.
He blames it on a lunatic murderer.
Oh.
Sirius and a disturbed boy Harry, influenced by Rita Skeeter. Harry even calls him out. "You've been reading Rita Skeeter, Mr. Fudge."
And Fudge doesn't even really deny it. He doubles down.
And if I have discovered that you've been keeping certain facts about the boy very quiet, a parsimony.
He uses Skeeter's gossip as evidence. It just shows that dangerous political expediency, denying uncomfortable truths because the lie is easier, safer for their position.
It's not just a blind spot. It feels like a deliberate choice. It makes you wonder how many other difficult truths the Ministry just buried to keep up appearances. It's all about maintaining that illusion of stability, that facade of competence, isn't it?
Even at the cost of justice and foresight.
When Fudge dismisses Harry's story, it's not just politics. It's this profound act of institutional self-delusion, this addiction to comfort. It sets the stage for disaster later.
And it's not just Harry. Look at how willing they were to clear former Death Eaters like Lucius Malfoy.
Right, who conveniently claimed they were under the Imperious curse. Fudge just waves it away. Malfoy was cleared, a very old family donations to excellent causes.
It speaks volumes, doesn't it? A system more concerned with appearances, protecting powerful families, avoiding panic, than with genuine justice.
It's a systemic weakness Voldemort exploits ruthlessly.
And that fear of scandal, it extends to how they handle Barty Crouch Sr.'s disappearance too, wanting to keep it quiet, even blaming Percy initially for the weird instructions Crouch was sending out.
Mrs. Weasley talks about it, right? The Ministry wants to keep Mr. Crouch's disappearance quiet, but Percy's been hauled in for questioning.
It all points to this deep unwillingness to face uncomfortable truths or admit any internal failure. That kind of bureaucratic inertia, that self-preservation, it becomes a huge threat in itself.
Okay, one more thing under this umbrella.
Yeah.
The burden of fame and public perception, especially for Harry. He just wants to be normal, right?
Desperately. But his fame just follows him everywhere, often with really negative, draining consequences.
Ron's jealousy, that's a big one, springing right from Harry's name coming out of the goblet.
Oh, that scene is brutal. Ron's sarcasm. It's okay. You can tell me the truth. 1,000 galleons prize money, eh? And you don't have to do end of year tests either.
It's laced with genuine hurt and suspicion. He really believes Harry cheated for more fame. It wounds Harry deeply. Shows how his circumstances isolate him.
And it's not just Ron. The whole school, especially the Ravenclaws, apparently assume he's desperate to earn himself a bit more fame, creates this immediate distrust.
And then there's Rita Skeeter, her savage quill. Her sensationalized articles. Harry Potter's Secret Heartache.
Whoa.
Exposing Hagrid's half-giant heritage. It's all designed to manipulate public opinion and sell papers.
Harry feels his face burning when Snape reads that article aloud in class, pausing at the end of every sentence to allow the Slytherins a hearty laugh. It's brutal.
It's a demonstration of biased media rumor, how powerful narrative control is. Hermione gets caught too, doesn't she? Gets hate mail.
Yeah, undiluted boobotuber pus. Because Skeeter fabricated that ridiculous love triangle between Harry, Hermione, and Crumb.
It's an early, harsh lesson about information warfare.
Creates this constant scrutiny for Harry and anyone near him. Even Victor Crumb, the Quidditch star. He becomes a focus of unwanted attention, gossip.
Hermione scolds Ron for his Crumb obsession, but Crumb himself gets targeted by Skeeter just for dating Hermione.
Fame is definitely a gilded cage in this world, trapping anyone who shines too brightly. Public perception, especially when manipulated, is a weapon just as potent as any curse.
A cruel cage, for sure. Makes you think how much of Harry's identity, his self-perception, is just forced on him by this relentless public gaze, especially from Skeeter. How did that shape him, even beyond the tournament?
That's a deep question. The constant need to defend himself, the feeling of being misunderstood, it must have built some serious walls.
Yeah, okay, speaking of things not being what they seem, let's pivot to our Antivision segment. Let's challenge maybe how we see one of the series' most revered figures, Albus Dumbledore.
Ooh, okay. Taking on Dumbledore. Bold.
Well, look, he's often seen as the wise, benevolent protector, right? But his actions, or maybe his inactions, can be read as a grand, often kind of cold calculation.
How so?
He knows deep dangers are at play, yet he consistently allows Harry to walk into perilous situations. He only reveals crucial information when absolutely necessary, and often, strategically it seems, after trauma has already happened.
It's a provocative thought. Definitely pushes back against the saintly Dumbledore image.
Right. Consider his trust in Snape. Immediate, unwavering. Karkaroff, a former Death Eater who knows Snape, directly accuses him, shouting, "Severus Snape!" at the trial.
And Dumbledore just calmly states, Snape has been cleared, vouched for by Albus Dumbledore. No hesitation.
And Sirius, Harry's godfather. He has deep suspicions about Snape, constantly warning Harry. But Dumbledore never wavers, never explains. It implies this massive, long-term strategy involving Snape.
A strategy that arguably puts others, including Harry, at incredible risk.
Exactly. But serves some greater hidden purpose. It paints him less as a kindly headmaster and more as a strategic mastermind, playing a long game where some pieces are, well, expendable for the win.
Okay, I can see that angle. What else?
What always struck me was how he handled Harry's scar pains, those terrifying visions. There's almost a detachment to it, wasn't there?
How do you mean?
When Harry describes the vision of Voldemort and Wormtail, Dumbledore says Harry is as sane as you or I. Which is reassuring, yes. But then he holds back crucial info about Voldemort's presence, the nature of their connection, until after Cedric's death.
Okay.
So was there a deliberate calculation? Waiting until after the horror? Could he have been trying to force Harry to experience it directly, make him a first-hand witness, solidifying his belief in Voldemort's return in a way no second-hand account ever could?
That's quite Machiavellian. A cruel form of education, if true.
Right. And then there's the truly audacious move, allowing a known dark arts practitioner, Barty Crouch Jr., disguised to teach at Hogwarts.
Yeah, that's always been a bit iffy, hasn't it? Even with the disguise.
Dumbledore claims he thought Moody could handle teaching the fourth years about dark curses. Professor Dumbledore's got a higher opinion of your nerves, etc. But knowing who Moody really was...
It suggests Dumbledore suspected something was wrong. Maybe not the full truth, but enough to let the experiment play out.
He allowed extreme methods, trusting they served a larger agenda. To uncover Voldemort's plans, expose his return, it shifts Dumbledore from just trusting Moody's reputation to, maybe, actively allowing a controlled, chaotic environment for strategic gain.
That does make him seem more calculating, less purely protective.
So it raises the question, is Dumbledore's genius not just his power or benevolence, but his willingness to play this long, agonizing game, where others are pawns, maybe unknowingly, and Harry is the ultimate crucial piece.
Which forces the uncomfortable question, is protecting Harry's life more important than what Harry experiences, the trauma he endures?
Exactly. It's like viewing Dumbledore less as a gentle shepherd, more as a brilliant, maybe ruthless grandmaster playing cosmic chess, where even good pieces might be sacrificed for the final checkmate.
It definitely makes his character far more complex, morally ambiguous even. Not the flawless mentor figure.
It's a heavy question, yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe a necessary, unsettling reevaluation of it.
I think so too.
Okay. And that idea of compromise, systemic compromises in wizarding society, leads us perfectly to a character who embodies so many of those blind spots.
Winky. Ah, Winky the House-Elf.
Let's dive into our empathy dive for her. A pivotal, yet often overlooked character whose arc just tragically mirrors the prejudice and systemic issues we were talking about.
Her life is just unwavering, almost biologically ingrained loyal servitude, isn't it?
Totally. Her meticulous care for Crouch Sr.'s house, despite his abuse, his neglect, and her self-reproach at being freed. It's one of the most heartbreaking moments.
She screams, Winky is a disgraced elf. Winky is properly ashamed of being freed.
It's awful. She's trapped by this ingrained magical loyalty that completely overrides her own well-being, her mental health.
The conditioning is so profound that freedom itself feels like a dishonor, a punishment. Her loyalty, despite the abuse, is just tragic.
And the weight of secrets she carries, that's another layer of suffering.
Her distress over Crouch's secrets. Winky is a good house elf hick. Winky keeps her silence hick people trying to hick, pry, and poke.
It highlights the immense emotional, maybe magical burden on her. And that burden, plus the shame of her master's actions and her forced freedom, leads to her butterbeer addiction.
A coping mechanism. She's a silent, unwilling witness to this dark plot, bound by fealty, unable to speak, even when her silence hurts her or others. It's a horrible bind.
And Hermione's attempts to free her. Well-intentioned, yes, but so naive.
Completely misses the psychological conditioning. Winky is horrified. The other house elves even apologize for her behavior. We is sorry you had to see that.
It shows how deep it runs. Winky isn't just a plot device. She's this poignant, heartbreaking symbol of internalized oppression. Her entire identity, her self-worth, is tied to servitude.
It really forces the reader to confront the ethics of a society that allows, even promotes that state of being.
If Winky were the protagonist,
Yeah.
right, imagine her story. Profound, unrequited loyalty, the crushing weight of a system defining her worth only by her service.
Her master's terrifying behavior, the secret of his son hidden away, the constant fear, and then the ultimate betrayal of freedom, which feels like disgrace.
Her addiction becomes this tangible sign of her pain. It's a quiet tragedy unfolding in the background, a stark contrast to the grand heroism, but maybe even more devastating personally.
It really puts a spotlight on the unseen suffering in wizarding society, forces us to question the moral foundations of a world we often just see as good.
Definitely. Okay, let's transition now to what they missed. Things most readers, even big fans, might just gloss over. First up, Priori Incantatella.
Oh, the wand connection. Far more than just a cool dual trick.
Way more. That moment in the graveyard, Harry and Voldemort's wands connect. The twin cores. It's not just a Deus Ex Machina saving Harry.
It forces Voldemort's wand to regurgitate the echoes of its last victims. Harry describes it so vividly. The screams, the smoky hand.
Cedric's torso emerging. Ugh. Raw, visceral, horrifying.
But the symbolic significance is huge.
Immense, almost biblical. It represents the inescapable truth of past actions. A magical revelation bringing the dead back to bear witness. A spectral jury.
It forces Voldemort, and through Harry's account, the wizarding world, to confront the horrors. Cedric, Frank Bryce, Bertha Jorkins, James, Lily.
It's like magic itself, refusing to let the past be buried or denied. Magic demanding accountability, demanding the truth rise up no matter how uncomfortable. It's the ultimate undoing of a lie.
And there's that subtle detail within the sequence, often overlooked.
Which one?
The very first Echo released. It's Wormtail's smoky hand, the one he sacrificed for Voldemort's regeneration.
Right.
It's not random. It's the physical manifestation of the price of betrayal, of dark magic. The very first step in Voldemort's return. It foreshadows the darker allegiances, the gruesome toll his followers pay. A quiet reminder that the hand that helped resurrect him is forever etched in his wand's history.
That's a brilliant connection. Ties right into the consequences theme. Okay, next overlooked thing. Hogwarts itself. Not just a setting, but like a living, breathing secret keeper.
Dumbledore's story about the Room of Requirement, it seems whimsical, right?
Totally. His quirky anecdote took a wrong turning. Found myself in a beautifully proportioned room I have never seen before, containing a really rather magnificent collection of chamber pots. When I went back to investigate, the room had vanished.
That offhand comment, it's not just a throwaway line showing Dumbledore's eccentricity. It subtly hints at the castle's sentient magic, its ability to adapt to needs, like it's listening.
It's not just stones and spells. It's a living entity responding to intentions, desires, conscious or not, makes Hogwarts an active character.
Exactly. And the broader implications are huge. Hogwarts itself holds secrets, truths, maybe actively protecting them until the right person or moment.
This idea of the castle as a benevolent, mysterious partner, not just a static setting, is often missed. People get caught up in the plot.
It's like the castle knows what's going on, offers help subtly, like the prefect's bathroom for the egg clue, or the room of requirement for the DA later.
It's a quiet protector, ancient wisdom in the walls. That's a really fascinating way to see it. Not just backdrop, but active participant. Okay, let's jump into our mini debate. A controversial hot take. What is really going on behind the scenes? Ministry versus Dumbledore. I'll argue for Ministry incompetence and Dumbledore's resulting burden.
Okay, lay it out.
Let's be real. The Ministry, especially Fudge, isn't just passively inept. They are actively incompetent, or at least willfully blind. They're so consumed by political stability, avoiding panic, they'll swallow any lie, even read a Skeeter's trash, rather than face an uncomfortable truth. Fudge believing Skeeter over Harry, saying Harry's word isn't enough because he's relying on a lunatic murderer and a boy who's, well, unstable. His outrage at Dumbledore's revelations, the fact Crouch Sr. was clearing Death Eaters like Malfoy, who just said Imperious, it all points to a system that just cannot or will not handle the truth.
And Percy Weasley is the perfect example.
Oh, God, Percy. His nauseating careerism, prioritizing procedure, appearances over truth and safety, tracking howlers, complaining about security, saying his dad's mistake was making a statement without clearing it first.
It's peak bureaucracy.
This collective delusion leaves Dumbledore holding the bag. His secrecy, maybe necessary, isolates him, makes his fight solitary, desperate, lonely, because the official channels failed.
Okay, I hear you on the failures, but calling it mere incompetence, I think that misses a key point. This isn't just lack of ability. It feels like deep-seated fear and a deliberate choice to prioritize power and political control over public safety.
How so?
The Ministry, led by Fudge, actively chooses denial. They'd rather believe Harry's unstable or Sirius is a murderer than admit Voldemort's back, because that admission shatters their illusion of peace, competence, challenges their authority.
So it's calculated denial, not just stupidity.
I think so. When Fudge says, Malfoy was cleared, very old family donations, that isn't incompetence. It's a calculated political move to maintain order, protect powerful allies, even if they're ex-Death Eaters. This forces Dumbledore into secrecy. He's not being manipulative just because. He's being pragmatic, strategic, facing an impossible political landscape.
But his secrecy does isolate him.
Because the alternative open war the Ministry refuses to acknowledge would be worse. His trust in Snape, for instance. It's not blind faith. It's based on a deeper understanding of loyalty, redemption, a long game the Ministry's black and white view can't grasp. Dumbledore's protecting the fragile peace, even if it means bearing secrets alone. He even stands up at the leaving feast, says truth is preferable to lies, that Cedric was murdered by Voldemort, directly challenging Fudge's denial. He knows the cost.
But his secrecy does put others, like Harry, through immense trauma. He withholds vital information, forces them to figure things out the hard way. That feels like a heavy, maybe unethical burden he places on individuals, instead of trying to work within or reform the system. The Ministry should be transparent, but it's corrupted by fear and comfort, forcing Dumbledore into these morally gray areas. And remember Sirius's take on Crouch Sr.
What was that again?
Sirius says Crouch Sr. was obsessed with regaining popularity by catching one more Death Eater. That's self-serving. That motivation drove the Ministry's justice, not pure ideals. It's all about optics, power.
And that self-serving motivation, that obsession with appearances, is precisely why Dumbledore operates as he does. He knows the Ministry is unwilling or unable to act effectively. He has to take responsibility. Remember, he physically stops Fudge from interrogating Harry in the hospital wing. I am afraid I cannot permit you. He protects Harry from their denial, their agenda.
Okay, true.
His actions are calculated, yes, but they're reactions to a flawed, fearful, arguably corrupt political landscape. He understands some truths are too dangerous, too destabilizing for fragile institutions obsessed with their own image. He takes the weight himself. He sees the long game, the ultimate war, when everyone else is stuck in the short-sighted present. It's a thankless, lonely burden.
A fascinating clash, whether it's incompetence, fear, corruption. The Ministry's failings create this vacuum Dumbledore feels he has to fill at a huge cost. It's a tragic dynamic that shapes so much of what comes next.
Agree.
Okay, let's zoom out now for our meta take. Goblet of Fire profoundly marks the end, the irreversible end of Harry's innocent view of the magical world. It's not a whimsical escape anymore. It's unmistakably, brutally a battleground.
Absolutely. And the book works as this incredibly powerful allegory for information control, public gullibility, the insidious nature of propaganda, themes that resonate so deeply today.
Read A Skeeter and The Daily Prophet. They epitomize how media can shape narratives, destroy reputations, regardless of facts. It mirrors our real-world challenges discerning truth in an age of, constant misinformation.
Harry tries to tell the simple truth: I didn't put my name in that goblet. And he's met with disbelief, scorn. While Skeeter's outrageous lies about him being disturbed or an attention seeker are readily accepted, even by Fudge. It's a chilling parallel to modern fake news.
It's a harsh, almost cynical lesson for Harry and us. Even in a world of magic, public opinion can be weaponized by biased voices, regardless of facts. Highlights the danger of confirmation bias in institutions like the Ministries. They believe what they want to be true. That deliberate ignorance is a ticking time bomb.
And it leads directly to the Ministry's catastrophic denial of Voldemort's return. That directly parallels how societies sometimes ignore grave threats for comfort, political expediency, lack of imagination.
Fudge refusing to believe Harry, even with witnesses. It leads to this critical, fatal delay in preparing for war.
The book asks that crucial, urgent question still relevant today. What happens when institutions designed to protect citizens fail by denying reality?
It speaks profoundly to our present. Fake news, tribalism overshadowing verifiable facts, and it speaks to our future, where vigilance isn't just a magical skill. Constant vigilance, right? It becomes an essential skill for survival. Crouch Jr.'s mantra, twisted as it was, takes on this new, urgent meaning for us in the real world. Be alert, watchful, critically evaluate information. This book changes the series, mirrors the shifting sands of reality, forces us to grow up with Harry.
A powerful, enduring message.
Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive into Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, we've got one unique what-if for you to ponder.
Let's hear it.
What if Ron had not reconciled with Harry after the first task? How might Harry's emotional state, his strategy in the tasks, his ultimate survival, how might that have been affected without that vital friendship, that support, especially with all the psychological warfare he faced?
Ooh, that's a good one. Changes everything. And if you loved this dive into the complexities of Goblet of Fire, maybe try a fascinating double feature. First, rewatch The Truman Show. Themes of an unwitting protagonist manipulated in a constructed reality. Then follow it with the original Star Wars, A New Hope. Think about the hero's journey, mentorship, and that initial clash between a rising dark force and a skeptical authority denying its existence.
Nice recommendations.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, if you got value from this deep dive, please do us a huge favor and leave a like on this video.
It truly helps us leap to new literary worlds.
And for more discussions that challenge the norm, dive deeper than the surface.
Remember to subscribe to the Deep Dive channel right here on YouTube.
Now it's your turn to jump in. After hearing our takes, our deep dives, what's your most controversial opinion about Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire?
Yeah, what's one commonly held belief about the book or its characters that you love to challenge? Make us rethink something.
Drop your hot takes in the comments below. We genuinely can't wait to read them.